Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well, Sinéad Crowther identified a gap in the market for a new remedy to alleviate sore throat discomfort in children, but family and work commitments almost meant that this product never became a reality. However, when Sinéad was experiencing some of the toughest moments in her personal life, she decided to take the plunge, and it was one of the best decisions she ever made, with soothing solutions now being stocked in pharmacies across Ireland, whilst it also has a presence in the UK market. Sinéad joins us now to share her incredible growth story. Sinéad, perhaps you might start the interview by telling us about your early career.
I started as a pharmaceutical technician when I was 15 in transition year in school, and I just really liked that role within the community. Pharmacy was very busy back then and very, very different, more community-based and less paperwork. So I really enjoyed that interaction across the counter with people and trying to help them solve their problems.
When was it that you identified a gap in the market for the honey jelly pops that are now sold by Soothing Solutions?
Well, actually, even back then, back in the early 90s, the people would come in, the parents looking for a solution for children's sore throats, and there wasn't really much to offer that children liked using, and that was safe, I suppose. There was lozenges or syrups, but the syrups, you couldn't always get children to take them, and the lozenges were just a choke hazard. So even as a kid in transition year, I thought, why is there nothing available for this problem, And then I worked as a technician for over 20 years and no other solution was ever brought to the market.
And while you could see that there was a gap in the market for these products, you were going through a particularly challenging time in your own personal and family life.
Yeah, I suppose, I was married and I had 3 children, and then the marriage broke down. We moved a lot in the boom, and we had 3 properties and we 3 children in 5 years, and then there was a lot of pressures on relationships, and the marriage broke down, and then I found myself on my own paying the mortgage. And then a couple of years later, I had another long-term relationship and had another child. So I had 4 children then, and unfortunately that didn't work out either. So at that time, I was kind of really suffering badly from depression and just trying to keep a roof over my children's heads. So the thought of starting a company and inventing the products that I had in my mind for years wasn't on the radar whatsoever.
So what was the trigger then that made you decide to turn the idea into a business?
So the trigger, again, family related. My youngest son at the time was 2, and I was working at weekends, and I went to do a Sunday shift in the pharmacy I was working in at the time and had to leave him with the babysitter. And unfortunately, there was an accident at home, and he sustained 3rd-degree burns. Within 24 hours, he developed sepsis. And I ran out of that job that day. I just got a phone call to say, come home, quick, there's been an accident. You know, the type of call that makes your blood go cold. Mm. And I knew it was bad, but I didn't realise that was my last day in that job. I was terrified to leave my children for a long time after that and decided to stay at home. And while I was off, I wasn't used to being at home full time because I loved my job. I loved that community pharmacy job, and I loved being a mother, but I'd never done either full time on its own. So I decided to Google how would I make this product, because I thought I'm home now and I should give this a try, at least give it a try and figure out could I do it. So that's how it started.
So talk me through the journey from there.
I found a form on a website called New Frontiers, Enterprise Ireland, and it said, do you have an idea you'd like to explore? Fill in a form. And I literally filled in the form that day and I hit send and didn't think about it. And then a week later, Enterprise Ireland gave me a call to say this idea for a child-friendly throat lozenge, which essentially is what it is really interesting. Do you want to come in and talk? We have a programme for people like you with ideas that helps nurture those ideas, and we think you'd be a good fit. And I went off and had that conversation, and that's literally how it started, my starting point.
Fascinating. Now, how does your product differ from other sore throat remedies that are currently on the market for children?
Well, currently for children, 2-year-old and up, there's not many options. So there's syrups now available. So they can have honey, glycerin, lemon in the syrups, and they're really sweet and children do take them. But the problem with the honey syrups is, for adults, when we use a lozenge, I suppose it takes us a few minutes to work our way through it. And during a few minutes, your throat is being continuously coated with the goodness of the ingredients, and it relieves the dryness in your throat. But when you give a child a syrup, it's swallowed in 2 seconds flat. And so the throat can become dry and irritated quite quickly again after that. So Tom Stick's honey jelly pops are honey, but in a jelly base. And when your child is using that like a lollipop, they're slowly dissolving the ingredients and they're getting the same benefits as they would with the adult lozenge, except it's formulated to melt in their mouth, so choke hazard is removed.
And in terms of the sales strategy, was it focused through the pharmacies around the country? Is that the route to market that you chose?
I did choose that because my background was pharmacy. I knew that industry. I knew how it worked, and I knew that when parents they have a sick child, they tend to go to the pharmacy first, and that would be the perfect place to put Tom Sticks to build kind of a familiarity with the brand until it became well known enough that you could put it on a supermarket shelf.
So talk to us about the initial reaction which you received from the pharmacies and how useful were your contacts within them to help you get the product onto shelves?
Well, the great thing about developing a product in an industry you work in is you do have a great network, and I didn't really realise how good that network was until I start researching. So in the development stages, I would have called friends who were technicians or pharmacists who I'd met in college, and they might have been the buyer of a chain, or they might have been, in charge of a whole pharmacy group as a manager and could connect me to the buyers. And I went and I asked them for advice during the development, and I involved them in what do you think the price point should be? What do you think would... So I had the concept and I wanted their, I suppose, feedback on was it good or bad or should I make changes? So during that development stage, I made lots of relationships with the buyers, and they said, if you build this product, we would definitely stock it. There's a need on the shelf. And so when the product was finished, I picked up the phone and called them, and they did stock. So I suppose the answer to your question is yes, having the network in the industry was very useful, and I definitely pulled on that from the start.
And how many pharmacies are now stocking your products?
So at the start, we kind of planned to launch into 350 pharmacies, and I suppose straight off the bat, we use a distributor now in Ireland because, again, another business decision when you're a small company. You can't service independent pharmacies around the country. You wouldn't be able to deliver and, replenish so regularly. So we chose a distribution partner there, PharmEd. And they have a sales team, so they kind of put their sales team out. And the goal originally was 350 stores, and I think there was 600 pharmacies signed up immediately before the product was even ready. And then our goal for the end of that year would have been 900 pharmacies. So in our first year, we launched in May, and by December, 1,400 pharmacies had listed it. That's last year.
So did that growth then cause any logistical challenges for you?
No, because we had secured investment to build a manufacturing facility, so we manufacture the product. So obviously you're starting off at quite a low, I suppose, manufacturing size, batch size that you're going to produce, and we were easily able to facilitate that. So we're still in a position that we can ramp that up even more right now, but it wasn't an issue. It was really exciting actually to see your products being made and shipped off and going into the pharmacies. It really was an exciting time.
So talk to us then about your expansion into the supermarkets.
So we're hoping now. We've established ourselves so well in Ireland in the pharmacies. We've had a lot of feedback saying, you can reach more consumers in the supermarket. So for anyone who wouldn't shop in pharmacies, a lot of people do, but for many they don't, and they pick up lots of items for their child on the supermarket shelf. So we felt the time was right to do that now. And we're working on that now with some grocery retailers. So fingers crossed it will be on supermarket shelves soon. And then we also, because Tom Sticks sold so well here in Ireland, Boots UK reached out, and we're now launched in the UK as well.
Excellent. So talk to us about some of the growth behind the business.
So yeah, for a brand new unknown product that doesn't look like other products on the shelf in this category, so sore throats and coughs, I guess. We sold 100,000 units in the first 16 months, which is apparently, we're told, an outstanding achievement from zero recognition to, after 16 months, achieve €100,000 in unit sales. So we're hoping to, obviously grow that more with exporting to the UK and having more familiarity around the brand now this year. We hope to do better than that again.
And in terms of future products, what's in the pipeline?
Well, we launched our second product, Tom Sticks Travel Pops, in August. So like the honey jelly throat pop, it melts in the mouth, but it's ideal for travel. And we've added ginger. That's, a very well-known natural remedy for nausea and travel sickness, and an ingredient called LTA, essentially green tea extract. And that helps calm. And what this is ideal for is any car journeys, boat journeys, train journeys where your child might struggle with nausea or travel sickness. And also on the plane for ear popping. You need a child, I suppose, to suck on something to relieve the ear popping pressure. We know as adults you can yawn or, stretch out your jaw to help. But children don't know that. So when you give them a really nice honey pop that's going to melt in their mouth, there's no issues, at 20,000 feet of choking, and the sweetness is distracting them, and the sucking action helps with the ear pop, and it's kind of gold as for a parent to have that on board. So we just launched that. That was our second product in August.
And I understand that you're currently in talks with a particular airline about stocking that product.
The retail pack that you can buy, just like our sore throat cough pops at the moment, the Tonsticks travel pops, and WH Smith picked up on the need for this, and they thought it'd be very valuable on their shelves. So they launched it into 11 airports in Ireland, Cork, Dublin and Shannon as a starting point. But what we really see the value in the travel pop is having it individually wrapped on board the flights to buy where you really need it. So we're working on that with an airline. It's quite hard to progress that. The buy-in process is a hard one with an airline. So we're kind of at a phase 3 with a particular airline. But if that comes across and turns into something real, it would be game changing for our small company.
You successfully completed the New Frontiers programme with Enterprise Ireland. Has the business, Soothing Solutions, now transitioned across into becoming a high potential startup with Enterprise Ireland?
So we did. We went up all the rungs of the ladder with Enterprise Ireland. So I started off with New Frontiers, and I got a little feasibility funding on that. Then I used innovation vouchers. Then we went and got onto a programme called Foodworks, because our product is essentially food. It's honey in a jelly base. And we got more grant funding there. They supported us with IP grants to protect as much IP as we could around our manufacturing process. And then when we secured our investment of with the VC last year, they match funded it with HPSU funding. So we are HPSU funded now, and working towards a Series A for early next year.
And Sinead, you are now planning to raise a further €5 million for the business. How will the funds be used?
So we will, I suppose, approach for our investors who invested straight away. So that's Redesdale Food and Beverage Fund. And there's a number of other VCs who've approached us to say they would have interest or appetite in coming in for the Series A. So that would be the plan. You obviously go to those first. The funding would be used to expand our manufacturing facility and to hire more staff. We need, I suppose, a key management team now to really drive the export into new territories. So that was the team and the CapEx spend, that would be the main thing. And of course, with a retail product, you need a big budget for marketing. So we're entering the UK. We may potentially be going across the EU with the travel pop. So that requires a lot of marketing spend.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Sinead Crowther from Soothing Solutions. And I'd like to congratulate Sinead on the success that she has achieved to date.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.